To some extent, I appreciate the rebuttal, but the fact of the matter is, in fact, Constellation is seeking Public Service Commission approval.
And, I'm sorry, Attorney China, if you get an overwhelming majority of response in this Public Service Commission of the people that are for it, at what point, I mean, what would the position of the governor be at that point?
It's not a plebiscite, and that's an important issue because in regulatory law, the mere fact that you have large numbers who feel about something one way or the other really doesn't go to the issue. It goes to what the charge of the commission is in terms of protection under the statute. The charge here is to protect the rate payers and consumers in the general public. And
they're also responsible for protecting the company as well.
Well, that does go to the issue of the general public consumers, financial health of it.
Right.
Those are the determinations that will be made by the Public Service Commission. It really won't be based on, how many do we have for or against. That's not to say if you have important issues that go to the heart of what the commissions and to the extent that how this affects you all as part of the public is important. I urge you to testify before the Public Service Commission, and the Public Service Commission needs to hear from all parties in making their decisions. That has been our position from day one, is that we believe this transaction requires approval by the Public Service Commission. Yeah, ma'am.
John, of course, that would be permitted legislation. Mike, a couple things here. With the Public Service Commission, I don't know the exact time, but maybe 7 months, 6 months ago, when we had gone through all the hearings and we'd done everything, there was
On the certificate of need?
right.
Yeah.
We accomplished that. Then they had the 30 days to rebut. So at that point, if that's what I'm talking about, was Dave Dunphy in here?
Yeah.
Right here.
That was the first part. That was the state approval on it. and-
Certificate of need.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, common necessity, and that part was approved. This part now is the Public Service Commission has determined that the merger could impact BG&E ratepayers. And, it is saying, and they do, they have an obligation, but at the same time, Constellation sold how much of its, assets in California without the Public Service Commission getting concerned about that. The evidentiary hearings are going on this week, and it just seems strange to me that in the process of this, when we're saying, keep an open mind, the governor's sending out op-eds saying, this is bad.
Well, Dave, the fact of the matter is, you can't have it both ways. Our position from the beginning was this needed to be approved by the Public Service Commission. Constellation's position is no, it didn't. And in the course of that, and I don't.
I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree.
They made their issues public. I think it's disingenuous to say that we should not have public discussion about these issues when all parties are doing it. Fact of the matter is, you got to separate the two discussions. One is our position of what our discussions have been. We think we've negotiated in good faith. We may not have rolled over, but we've negotiated in good faith. In terms of either settlement or whatever you want to call it, joint proper or whatever. That's one thing. Their ability to go to the Public Service Commission, which they're availing themselves, is another, and they're doing it. And I don't see whether the two are contradictory at all.
I can do this with these windmills up here in Allegheny County. And what it boils down to, it's time to cut the bullshit. It's an election year, and they're playing politics. Where's the votes going to come from? They would need to get off our ass. Do these people support us or don't they? That's what it's boiling down to. And it's every time for election. I don't want to make a decision because I want to get reelected. And we're on whose side. Quit the vote, you're the one side, you're not. That's what I said.
I know it almost done. But, you know, John, I heard you say, Public Service Commission, you know, for the public,
Yeah,
for the public, for the workers,
Yeah.
for the ones who are working off. But you said, well, just because of the majority of us believe in it,
no, it should be, I want to separate two things, all right? One, impact on the public is a criteria. So, public impacts, I'm not saying that they don't count or appropriate. All I was merely pointing out is that, and this transcends the Public Service Commission, it goes to regulatory approvals altogether. The Public Service Commission is charged with approving what it is, according to the standards of the statute that they're addressing, which in this case includes the standards that we described. The mere fact that 62 people testify on one side and 35 people testify on another isn't dispositive of the issue. So that's the only point I was just trying to make out. You know, so it's not a matter of the person who gets the most people there wins type of thing. In fact, if the commission were even to make a finding relating to that, it would probably be subject to appeal. There's a standing proposition administrative law against what's called plebiscite, doing what's popular in terms of what is appropriate under the statute. But since the standards themselves, so no, I'm not disputing that a lot of the issues you were raising in terms of impact on the public aren't appropriate issues you shouldn't raise. All I'm asking you to do is take a somewhat wider view and say yours aren't the only issues. Not that they're not important, but you know there are other issues, and one of those is the impact on the finances of PG&E and the impact on the ratepayers, and that's a critical one that the Public Service Commission has to take a look at.
Let's separate.
to that.
So you want the official, because he's your boss.
To that exactly what Mark said earlier, of course, you know, you're right, we're all here by jobs,
Yeah.
and we're, and you have the regulatory commission, like you said, that's one of the things to deal with. I would speak up, who's gonna pay what for rates, like
Sure.
they regulate everything else, and this gentleman just said that PG&E that's under that, compared, I'm talking about Calvert Christian.
Yeah,
So my question, I understand the governor, the Public Service Commission's job is to protect the public
yeah,
because they're not all well versed in, you know, somebody needs to protect these laws.
it's complicated.
But if, is there some way, okay, the one question is, who was the leader that brought this back to shoot this down? It wasn't Governor O'Malley. I mean, who's the big opponent here? Who's the big opponent to this? It's just not Governor O'Malley. Somebody else has had to bring this, I don't know. I mean, we know the green, you know, the.
No, you know, I don't want to characterize anything of anyone, you know, I mean, I don't want to take you back to the whole history. There was one purchase by Warren Buffett, you know, that, you know, and this was Constellation. They, you know, essentially unraveled that and entered into another one with EDF. The issue has been that, and I understand, you know, I'm a lawyer, I understand people having a different point of view on law. Constellation's position had been, we're not subject, this acquisition is not subject to the Public Service Commission. In fact, as the gentleman noted today, they reserve the right to argue that fee, which I think is perfectly appropriate by their lawyers, and I tell them to do the same thing. That's their position. We don't agree. You know, there were discussions about, you know, trying to settle that on proper, which, you know, have